Balcony night sky. The city stretched out below them like a carpet of glittering jewels, every window lit, every streetlight glowing faintly in the midnight haze. The balcony was quiet, framed by flowing curtains that swayed gently with the breeze. The hum of distant traffic was muted, softened by the hush of the night. Above, stars blinked through the soft veil of mist, their fragile light dripping down over the cityscape. It was one of those nights when silence didn't feel empty, it felt alive, brimming with unspoken words. She leaned against the railing, her auburn hair falling in waves over the shoulders of her deep green robe. The fabric caught the glow of the lights, looking almost like liquid emerald. Her eyes lingered on the horizon, but her heart was tuned to the presence beside her. The other woman, slender, elegant, with raven hair pulled into a sleek bun, stood just a breath away. Her black dress shimmered faintly, as if it had caught a trace of the starlight. For a while, they didn't speak. They didn't need to. The silence between them wasn't a void, it was a bridge. Every flutter of hair in the breeze, every brush of fabric, every shift in posture was a word, a sentence, a confession. When the auburn-haired woman finally let her gaze slip from the skyline, she found the other's profile outlined against the city's glow. High cheekbones, soft lips, and a gaze so steady it seemed to pin the night itself in place. She didn't realize she was staring until those dark eyes turned and caught hers. The breath left her lungs, stolen, not by surprise, but by recognition, the kind of recognition that burns quietly, like a candle flame that refuses to go out. The black-haired woman tilted her head, a faint smile teasing her lips, as if she knew the effect she was having. And maybe she did. She stepped closer, closing the last of the space between them, until the air itself seemed to tremble. "You're quiet tonight," the raven-haired one murmured, her voice low and smooth, carrying just enough warmth to stir the silence into motion. The auburn-haired woman swallowed, her lips parting slightly. "Maybe I'm listening," she replied softly. "Sometimes the night has more to say than I do. Or maybe," the other countered gently, "you're waiting for me to say what you're already thinking." That earned her a faint, nervous laugh. It was true, she had been waiting, not for words exactly, but for this closeness. This electric stillness that promised something unspoken. Her hands gripped the balcony's edge, knuckles pale, not out of fear but because she was holding herself steady. Every fiber in her body was alive, humming, ready to lean forward, to bridge the distance. The raven-haired woman noticed. Of course she did. Her hand lifted, hesitated just a moment, then touched lightly against the other's arm. That single point of contact was enough to ignite the air. The auburn-haired woman's eyes fluttered shut, the touch reverberating like a chord struck deep inside her. It wasn't a bold move, not yet, but it was a question. And she answered, not with words, but with the way her body leaned into that touch, the way her breath caught in her throat. The stars above seemed to dim, as if giving them privacy. The city noise faded, replaced by the pounding of their hearts. The raven-haired woman let her hand trail down slowly, brushing against fabric, against warmth. When she reached the auburn-haired woman's hand gripping the railing, she covered it gently, coaxing her to release her hold. Fingers slipped between fingers, hesitant at first, then tightening, interlocking. Two hands, two pulses, one rhythm. Their eyes met again. Neither looked away this time. The moment stretched, delicate yet unbreakable, until finally, inevitably, she leaned closer. Their foreheads brushed first, soft and tentative. Breath mingled, warm and unsteady. Then lips hovered just a whisper apart, trembling with restraint. She could feel everything in that almost kiss, the years of longing. The silence filled with unspoken desire, the courage it had taken to arrive here. And when the final space dissolved, when lips pressed softly against lips, it was not an explosion but a surrender. Gentle, slow, deliberate, like discovering a secret you'd always known but never dared to speak aloud. The first kiss lingered, fragile and tender, tasting of starlight and midnight air. When they pulled back, their faces remained close, their noses brushing, their breaths shared. Neither spoke. The kiss itself had said enough. But desire has its own language, and silence could only hold it for so long. The raven-haired woman's lips curved into a smile that was both mischievous and reverent. "I thought the night was quiet," she whispered, "but it's louder than ever now." The auburn-haired woman laughed softly, a sound trembling between joy and disbelief. "That's because my heart won't stop." "Then let it be loud," came the reply, firm yet tender. "I want to hear it." Another kiss followed, deeper this time, less hesitant, more certain. Hands traveled, one sliding to a waist, the other brushing along a jawline, fingertips grazing sensitive skin. They pulled each other closer, bodies aligning as if they had always belonged this way. The green robe shifted, the black dress swayed, fabric against fabric, skin against fabric, warmth blooming wherever they touched. The night wrapped around them like a cocoon, the stars above, the city below, all of it blurred into background. What remained was heat, closeness, the intoxicating rhythm of two people who had stopped resisting gravity. The balcony railing pressed cool against their hips, grounding them as their kisses grew hungrier, yet still carrying tenderness, restraint, a reverence for the enormity of this moment. At last, they broke apart, gasping softly, foreheads pressed together again. The auburn-haired woman's voice was breathless when she whispered, "Why does this feel like I've been waiting my whole life for it?" "Because you have," the raven-haired woman answered simply, with a certainty that left no room for doubt. The words settled deep, threading through the pounding of her heart. She felt her chest ache, not with fear but with the overwhelming beauty of being seen, being wanted, being held in this way. She squeezed the other's hand tighter, as if anchoring herself in the reality of it. The city kept glowing, the stars kept burning, but the true light was here, on this balcony, between them, two women, two souls, finding their orbit at last. And the night had only just begun. Night sky, the air between them remained heavy, trembling with the weight of what had just happened. Yet instead of easing, instead of settling back into silence, the energy kept building. The auburn-haired woman could feel her heart pounding against her ribs, each beat echoing in her ears like a drum. The world had tilted, and she no longer wanted it to right itself. She wanted to fall, and she wanted to fall into her. The raven-haired woman's hand still rested against her waist, warm through the thin fabric of her robe. That touch alone sent shivers racing down her body, igniting every nerve. Slowly, deliberately, the black-haired woman traced her fingers higher, up along her side, until they rested at the edge of her collarbone. The auburn-haired woman gasped softly, her breath catching as their eyes locked again. "This isn't a dream, is it?" she whispered, her voice barely audible against the whisper of the breeze. "No," came the reply, firm yet tender. "It's the most real thing I've ever felt." She leaned in again, kissing her softly, then deeper, until their lips melted into one another like fire and water finding balance. The auburn-haired woman let her hands move too, sliding from the railing to rest on the curve of the other's back. The fabric of the sleek black dress was cool beneath her palms, but beneath that fabric was warmth, strength, softness. She pulled her closer, desperate to erase the space that still lingered. Their bodies pressed together, fitting naturally, as though the universe had been holding them apart for too long. The green robe slipped slightly off one shoulder, baring skin to the night air. The raven-haired woman's lips trailed along that exposed skin, feather-light touches that sent sparks running through every inch of her. She tilted her head back, closing her eyes, surrendering to the sensation. The city was gone. The stars were forgotten. There was only this, only her. "I don't want this night to end," the auburn-haired woman murmured, her voice hushed, trembling with both vulnerability and desire. "Then it won't," the other replied. "Not for us." They kissed again, slower now, savoring each brush of lips, each soft sigh, each heartbeat sinking in rhythm. Hands wandered with reverence, learning the familiar yet new landscape of each other's bodies. Every touch was an exploration, every caress a promise. It wasn't just attraction, it was devotion, an ache to hold and be held, to love and be loved without restraint. The breeze carried the faint scent of jasmine from somewhere below, mixing with the warmth of their skin. The auburn-haired woman inhaled deeply, grounding herself in the moment. She wanted to remember everything, the taste of her lips, the softness of her touch, the quiet power in her eyes. This was no fleeting encounter. It was an awakening, a moment stitched into eternity. When they finally pulled back, breathing hard, they didn't step away. Instead, the raven-haired woman rested her forehead against hers, their noses brushing lightly. "Do you feel it too?" she asked softly. "Yes," came the answer, immediate, unshakable. Like the world finally makes sense, they smiled at one another, fragile and fierce at the same time. Then slowly, they moved back inside the apartment, hand in hand, unwilling to break their connection. The curtains swayed as they passed, the city lights dimming behind them, the room glowing with the warm amber of a single lamp. It felt like stepping into a sanctuary, a space carved out just for them. The auburn-haired woman sank onto the sofa, her robe pooling around her like emerald silk. The raven-haired woman joined her, not sitting apart, but right beside her, their thighs touching, their shoulders brushing. For a moment, they simply looked at each other, as though memorizing every detail. Then the raven-haired woman lifted her hand again, cupping the other's cheek gently. Her thumb brushed across soft skin, and her voice lowered to a whisper. "You're beautiful." The auburn-haired woman's eyes shimmered. No one had ever said it like that before, like it was truth, like it was inevitable, like beauty was not just what she looked like but who she was. Tears prickled at the corners of her eyes, not from sadness but from the overwhelming tenderness of the moment. She leaned into the touch, closing her eyes, whispering back, "And you're everything I never knew I needed." Their lips met again, softer this time, slower, each kiss drawn out as though they had an eternity to explore. Hands tangled in hair, fingers intertwined, breaths mingled. They sank deeper into the moment, deeper into each other, until the rest of the world ceased to exist. Only warmth, only closeness, only love remained. Hours seemed to pass in minutes, minutes stretched into forever. They kissed until they were dizzy, held each other until their arms ached, whispered words they didn't know they'd been holding back. It wasn't just passion, it was healing. It was freedom. It was the discovery of something they had both been searching for without knowing. Eventually, as the night grew heavier and the city quieted even more, they curled together on the sofa. The auburn-haired woman rested her head against the other's chest, listening to the steady rhythm of her heartbeat. The raven-haired woman wrapped her arms around her, holding her as though she were the most precious thing in the world. Their legs tangled together, their breathing slowed, and silence once again filled the room, not empty this time, but full, overflowing with contentment. The auburn-haired woman whispered into the darkness, her words muffled against soft fabric. "Promise me this isn't just tonight." The raven-haired woman kissed the top of her head, her voice steady and certain. "It's not. This is only the beginning." And in that moment, the promise wasn't just words, it was truth. The night had birthed something new, something unbreakable. Two souls had collided, two hearts had found their match, and the world would never be the same again. The city outside continued to glow, the stars continued to burn, but the true fire was here to women, wrapped in each other, their love blazing brighter than anything the night sky could offer. And as their eyes finally closed, slipping into sleep, they did so not with fear or uncertainty, but with the deepest, most peaceful knowing that they had found something worth holding on to forever.